You're overreacting. He's just a friend, she said when she showed up with her male best friend to the birthday dinner I planned. I said, you're right. I am, paid the bill and left. Blocked her in the Uber. 2 weeks later, she saw me at a restaurant with her sister. On a date. She caused a scene. I, 29, male, am watching my ex cause a scene in a crowded restaurant. She's yelling at me. She's yelling at her sister. She's yelling at the waiter who tried to intervene. Every head in the room has turned toward our table, phones already recording. 2 weeks ago, I would have shrunk into my seat, apologized for existing, and somehow convinced myself this was my fault. But tonight, I just lean back in my chair, perfectly calm, and say 6 words that make her face drain of color. He was just a friend, remember? Let me rewind. 2 weeks earlier, I had spent 14 days planning what I thought would be the perfect birthday dinner for my girlfriend, Sarah, 28. I called the restaurant 3 times to confirm the window-side table. I pre-ordered her favorite wine. I even bought a small gift, a bracelet she'd been eyeing for months, wrapped in silver paper with a cream ribbon. When I walked into Luciano's at 7:30 p.m., smiling like an idiot, the host led me to the table. Sarah was already seated. So was Tyler, 29, her male best friend. They were laughing, mid-conversation, 2 menus open in front of them. Tyler looked up first, gave me a casual wave. Sarah turned, saw me, and her smile didn't falter for even a second. Hey, babe, you're here. I stopped 3 feet from the table. I am. Why is Tyler here? She reached for her water glass, took a sip, completely unbothered. Oh, I ran into him earlier. He didn't have plans, so I invited him along. I figured you wouldn't mind. You're overreacting. He's just a friend. I stood there for 5 full seconds. The host was still holding the 3rd chair, waiting for instruction. Tyler was scrolling his phone now, acting like this was all totally normal. And Sarah was looking at me like I was the one being weird. That's when something inside me clicked. Not anger, not sadness, just clarity. Cold, sharp clarity. I smiled. You're right. I am. I walked to the host's stand, pulled out my wallet, and handed over my card. Whatever they've ordered so far, put it on this. The host nodded, confused but polite. I signed the receipt, pocketed my card, and walked out the front door without looking back. By the time I was in the Uber, my phone was already buzzing. For texts from Sarah. Then a call. Then 3 more texts. I opened her contact, hit block, and closed my phone. The driver asked if I was okay. I told him I'd never been better. That night should have been the end of it. That night should have been closure, clean and simple. But 2 weeks later, Sarah walked into Giovanni's and saw me sitting across from her younger sister, Emma, 26. And that's when the quiet revenge I'd been living turned into a public reckoning neither of us could take back. Sarah and I had been together for 2 years. We met at a mutual friend's housewarming party. She was funny, confident, always the center of attention in a room. I liked that about her. I was quieter, more reserved, the kind of person who listened more than he spoke. People always said we balanced each other out. Looking back, I think what they meant was that I let her lead. And I did. I let her plan our weekends. I let her pick the restaurants. I let her decide when we'd see my friends versus hers. It wasn't that I didn't have opinions. It was that every time I tried to voice one, she'd tilt her head, smile, and say something like, "Come on, don't be difficult," or, "I thought you'd be cool with this." And I'd fold. Every time. Tyler had been part of the picture from the beginning. Sarah introduced him as her best friend, someone she'd known since college. He was around a lot. Too much, if I'm being honest. Group dinners where he'd show up unannounced. Movie nights where he'd text her halfway through and she'd step outside to talk. Weekends where she'd cancel our plans because Tyler needed help moving furniture or fixing his car or just needed someone to vent to. Every time I brought it up, she'd give me the same line. "You're overreacting. He's just a friend." 6 months into the relationship, I suggested we take a weekend trip, just the 2 of us. She said yes. Then 3 days before we were supposed to leave, she asked if Tyler could come along. He's going through a breakup. He could use the distraction. I said no. For once, I actually said no. She stared at me like I'd just told her the earth was flat. Seriously? You're being jealous over nothing. We didn't go on the trip. She said she didn't feel like it anymore. A year in, Tyler started calling her late at night. 11 p.m., midnight, sometimes later. I'd be lying next to her in bed, half asleep, and her phone would light up with his name. She'd always answer. Always. She'd whisper into the phone, step into the bathroom, close the door. When she came back, I'd ask what was wrong. He's just stressed about work, she'd say. Or his family. Or his dating life. Always something. I stopped asking after a while. By year 2, I'd become the guy who didn't ask questions. The guy who showed up when she needed something but never made demands of his own. The guy who planned thoughtful surprises, like birthday dinners at expensive restaurants. Because maybe if I tried hard enough, she'd see me the way I wanted to be seen. Not as background noise. Not as the safe option. As someone worth prioritizing. The birthday dinner was supposed to be different. It was supposed to be ours. I'd told her that, explicitly, when I brought it up 2 weeks before. Just us, I'd said. No friends, no distractions. Just you and me. She'd smiled, kissed my cheek, and said, of course. I wouldn't want it any other way. And then Tyler showed up. The Uber driver dropped me off at my apartment at 8:15 p.m. I walked inside, tossed my keys on the counter, and sat down on the couch in the dark. My phone was still buzzing in my pocket. I pulled it out, unblocked Sarah's number for just long enough to see the messages, then blocked her again. The texts were predictable. Confusion first. Where did you go? Why did you just leave? Then frustration. Are you seriously mad about this? You're being ridiculous. Then anger. You embarrass me in front of Tyler. What the hell is wrong with you? I didn't respond. Not to a single one. Tyler texted me too. That surprised me. Dude, I don't know what just happened, but Sarah's upset. Maybe you should call her. I stared at his message for a full minute. Then I deleted it. The next morning, I woke up to 17 missed calls and a voicemail. I didn't listen to it. I showered, made coffee, and went to work like it was any other Monday. My coworker, Rachel, asked if I was okay. You look exhausted, she said. I told her I was fine. She didn't push. Sarah showed up at my apartment that night. I didn't let her in. She knocked for 10 minutes, then stood outside my door and yelled through it. This is insane. You can't just block me and disappear. We need to talk about this. I sat on the couch, headphones on, and ignored her. Eventually, she left. 2 days later, she tried a different approach. She texted from a number I didn't recognize. It's me. I borrowed my coworker's phone. Please, can we just talk? I don't understand why you're so mad. I blocked that number too. By the end of the first week, she'd stopped trying to contact me directly. Instead, she started reaching out to my friends. My roommate from college called me. Hey man, Sarah messaged me. She says you're ignoring her, and she doesn't know why. What's going on? I told him the truth. She invited her male best friend to the birthday dinner I planned for just the two of us. When I left, she called me ridiculous. That's what's going on. He was quiet for a second. Then he said, yeah, that's messed up. By the end of the second week, I'd heard from 3 more mutual friends. All of them had the same story. Sarah was confused, upset, playing the victim. None of them knew about Tyler showing up to the dinner. When I told them, their responses were unanimous. Wait, she did what? Emma was Sarah's younger sister. I'd met her twice. Once at a family barbecue, once at Sarah's mom's birthday party. She was quiet, polite, the kind of person who smiled when you talked, but didn't offer much in return. I didn't think about her much, honestly. She was just Sarah's sister. 3 days after I walked out of Luciano's, Emma sent me a message on Instagram. Hey, I heard what happened. I'm sorry. That wasn't fair to you. I stared at the message for a long time before I replied. Thanks. I appreciate that. She responded within minutes. For what it's worth, Tyler's always been a problem. Sarah just doesn't see it. Or she does and doesn't care. Either way, you deserved better. We started talking. Nothing heavy at first. Just casual conversation. She asked how I was doing. I told her I was fine, which was half true. She told me she'd been dealing with her own frustrations with Sarah. She's always been like this. Acts like the world revolves around her and gets mad when people don't play along. I didn't disagree. A week later, Emma asked if I wanted to grab coffee. No pressure. Just thought you might want to talk to someone who gets it. I said yes. We met at a small cafe near her apartment. She ordered a latte, I got black coffee, and we talked for 2 hours. She was easy to talk to. No judgment, no unsolicited advice. Just listening. At the end of the conversation, she said something that stuck with me. You know, you don't have to go back to her. You're allowed to just walk away. I nodded. I know. I already have. She smiled. Good. Update 1. 2 weeks after the birthday dinner, Emma and I went to Giovanni's for dinner. It wasn't a grand plan. It wasn't calculated revenge. It was just two people who'd become friends grabbing food together. Except somewhere between appetizers and the main course, it stopped feeling like just friends. Emma laughed at something I said, and I realized I was smiling in a way I hadn't in months. The kind of smile that felt real. We were halfway through our meal when I saw her. Sarah. She walked in with two of her friends, scanning the room for a table. Her eyes landed on me first, then on Emma. Her face went white. For 3 full seconds, she just stood there, frozen. Then she moved. She crossed the restaurant in 10 seconds flat. Her friends trailed behind her, looking confused. She stopped at our table, staring at Emma like she'd just seen a ghost. What the hell is this? Emma set down her fork, calm as ever. Dinner. What does it look like? Sarah's voice rose. Are you seriously on a date with my boyfriend? I spoke before Emma could. Ex-boyfriend. You lost that title when you brought Tyler to my birthday dinner. Her mouth opened, closed, opened again. This is insane. You're dating my sister? Are you kidding me right now? Emma leaned back in her chair, arms crossed. You're one to talk. You spent 2 years making him feel like a backup plan. I'm just showing him what it's like to be someone's first choice. Sarah's face flushed red. You're both disgusting. I can't believe you do this to me. I smiled. Not a kind smile. The kind of smile that cuts. You're overreacting. She's just a friend. The entire restaurant went silent. Sarah's friends looked mortified. A waiter took a step forward, clearly considering intervening. Sarah's voice cracked. You're doing this to hurt me. I shook my head. No. I'm doing this because I'm done letting you make me feel small. You want to talk about betrayal? You invited Tyler to a dinner I spent 2 weeks planning. You dismissed my feelings, called me ridiculous, and made me the bad guy for walking away. So yeah, Sarah, I moved on. And I'm not sorry. She stood there for another 5 seconds, tears starting to pool in her eyes. Then she turned and walked out. Her friends followed. The restaurant stayed quiet for a moment longer. Then the noise returned, people leaning toward each other, whispering. Emma reached across the table and squeezed my hand. You okay? I nodded. Yeah, I really am. Update 2. The next morning, my phone exploded. Sarah had posted about the restaurant incident on social media. A long, vague post about betrayal, family loyalty, and how some people will stab you in the back when you least expect it. She didn't name names, but everyone who knew us knew exactly who she was talking about. Within hours, mutual friends were messaging me. Some asked for my side of the story. Some accused me of being cruel. Some said they'd heard rumors about Tyler and wanted to know if they were true. Emma's phone blew up too. Sarah had called their mom, crying, spinning a story about how I'd manipulated Emma into dating me just to get revenge. Their mom called Emma, furious, demanding an explanation. Emma told her the truth. He didn't manipulate me. He was kind to me when Sarah treated him like garbage. And yes, we're seeing each other now. If you have a problem with that, take it up with Sarah. By noon, Sarah's best friend, Jessica, had sent me a long message. It started with, I don't know what you think you're doing, but you need to stop. It ended with, Sarah is a mess right now. You have no idea what you've done to her. I responded with 5 words. She invited Tyler to dinner. Jessica replied immediately. That doesn't give you the right to date her sister. I wrote back. It gives me the right to move on with someone who actually respects me. If that happens to be Emma, that's not Sarah's business anymore. Jessica didn't respond. By the end of the day, 3 more people had reached out to tell me they'd heard the full story from Sarah's friends. Tyler showing up to the dinner. Sarah calling me ridiculous. Me paying the bill and leaving. Every time, their response was the same. Honestly, I don't blame you. Update 3. Sarah didn't take the restaurant confrontation quietly. 2 days later, Emma's car was keyed. Someone had scratched a single word into the driver's side door. Homewrecker. Emma called me, voice shaking. She's lost her mind. I told her to file a police report. She did. The officer who took the statement asked if she had any idea who might have done it. Emma said yes. Sarah. The officer asked if she had proof. Emma didn't. But she had suspicion. And timing. That same night, Sarah posted again. This time, she was less vague. When people you trusted turn into people you don't even recognize. Family means nothing anymore, I guess. Emma screenshot the post and sent it to their mom with a message. This is what she's doing. She keyed my car, and now she's trying to play the victim online. Their mom called Sarah. I don't know what was said, but Emma told me later that their mom had shut Sarah down hard. She told her to grow up and stop acting like a child. She said if Sarah had treated you better, none of this would have happened. The next day, Tyler called me. I let it go to voicemail. He left a message. Look, man, I don't know what's going on between you and Sarah, but she's really upset. Maybe you should talk to her. Clear the air. I deleted the voicemail without listening to the whole thing. A week later, Sarah tried one more time. She showed up at my apartment again. This time, I answered the door. She looked tired. No makeup, hair pulled back, eyes red. Can we please just talk? I leaned against the doorframe. About what? About us. About Emma. About everything. I shook my head. There's no us anymore, Sarah. You made that clear when you brought Tyler to my birthday dinner. That was a mistake. I should have told you he was coming. I'm sorry. You're not sorry you brought him. You're sorry I left. She opened her mouth to argue, then stopped. Fine. Maybe that's true. But we can fix this. No, we can't. You're seriously going to throw away 2 years because of one dinner? I looked at her, really looked at her, and felt nothing. No anger. No sadness. Just nothing. I'm not throwing anything away. You did that yourself. She started crying. Real tears this time. You're really dating Emma? Yeah, I am. Why her? Because she treats me like I matter. Sarah wiped her eyes, nodded slowly, and turned to leave. She stopped at the top of the stairs, looked back at me one more time. I hope you're happy. I smiled. I am. Over the next month, I watched Sarah's life fall apart in slow motion. It started with Tyler. They'd been inseparable for years, but after the restaurant incident, people started asking questions. Why was he always around? Why did Sarah prioritize him over her boyfriend? Why did he show up to a birthday dinner uninvited? The more people talked, the worse it looked. Tyler started distancing himself. He stopped answering her late-night calls. He stopped showing up to group hangouts. By the end of the month, he'd blocked her on social media. Sarah's friends started pulling away too. The ones who'd heard my side of the story, the ones who knew about Tyler, they stopped reaching out to her. She posted about it online, vague comments about fake friends and how no one had her back. But the comments section stayed quiet. No one defended her. No one engaged. Her mom called Emma again, this time to apologize. I didn't realize how bad it was. Sarah's been lying to me about a lot of things. Emma told me later that their mom had asked her to bring me to family dinner. She wants to meet the guy who finally stood up to Sarah. I went. It was awkward at first, but Sarah's mom was kind. She asked me about the birthday dinner, about Tyler, about everything. When I finished, she sighed. I've watched Sarah treat people like this her whole life. I kept hoping she'd grow out of it. I'm sorry she did this to you. Sarah didn't come to dinner. She stopped showing up to family events altogether. Emma told me she'd started seeing a therapist, which was a step in the right direction. But the damage was done. She'd burned too many bridges. 6 months later, Emma and I are still together. We took a trip to Portland last month, spent a weekend exploring bookstores and coffee shops. It was easy, comfortable. The kind of relationship where you don't have to second-guess every decision or walk on eggshells around the other person. I ran into Sarah once at a grocery store. She was alone, cart half full, looking at her phone. She saw me, froze, then turned down another aisle. I didn't follow her. I didn't need to. People ask me sometimes if I feel guilty. About Emma. About how everything played out. The answer is no. I don't. Sarah made her choices. She chose Tyler over me 100 times before I ever walked away. She chose to dismiss my feelings, to call me ridiculous, to make me feel like I was the problem. I didn't set out to hurt her. I set out to stop letting her hurt me. Emma and I talk about that night at Giovanni's sometimes. How surreal it was. How Sarah's face went white when she saw us together. How the entire restaurant watched her lose control. Emma always says the same thing. You handled it perfectly. You didn't yell. You didn't get defensive. You just told the truth. And that's the thing. The truth was enough. I didn't need to scream or throw accusations or make a scene. I just needed to stop letting Sarah rewrite the narrative. She invited Tyler to my birthday dinner. She dismissed my feelings. She lost me. And when she saw me with Emma, she realized she'd lost more than just a boyfriend. She'd lost someone who would have done anything for her. I don't know where Sarah is now. I don't follow her on social media. I don't ask mutual friends about her. I don't think about her much at all anymore. And that, more than anything, feels like freedom. Some relationships end with fireworks. Ours ended with a paid bill, a block number, and 6 words spoken across a restaurant table. He was just a friend, remember? It was enough.